All right. I love this story. And I wanted to take some time with this. Y'all remember Tony Stark, played by Robert Downey Jr.,
You know who's good, though? Who that? Robert Downey Jr.'s.
passed away tragically and heroically in Avengers Endgame. Spoiler alert. With Tony Stark's death, I think it touched a lot of people. And, we were moved by it. But, something got revealed recently. And if you recall, Tony Stark's journey started in 2008 when he first came on the screen as Iron Man and declared to the world, I am Iron Man, right?
I am Iron Man.
Ever since then, Tony's been on a journey. He's been on an arc. It took 10 years to tell this man's story. And it came to an end, when we got to Endgame. But let me tell you something. Everybody wasn't all on board. Everyone was not on board with killing Tony Stark. You know who that was? Of course, one of the main people that was involved with Tony from the beginning. Happy himself. That's right, director of Iron Man himself, Jon Favreau, called up the Russo brothers and told them to stop them from killing Tony Stark. He said, you can't do this, man. You can't do this. What did they say? Part of the pressure not to kill Tony Stark came from Jon Favreau, who called us up after he read the script, said the Russo brothers. And he said to us, are you really gonna kill Iron Man? Huh. Joe Russo added, he did. Yeah, and I remember pacing on the corner of a stage on the phone with Favreau, trying to talk him off a ledge. This man was finna kill himself. What? Off a ledge. Because he's like, you can't do this. It's going to devastate people. And you don't want them, walking out the theater into traffic. We did it anyway. The screenwriters, Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, they defended the choice to kill Tony Stark off shortly after the movie was released to blockbuster box office numbers. And they said, McFeely told the New York Times, everyone knew this was going to be the end of Tony Stark. The writers explained that Tony's arc since the 2008 was to achieve selflessness. So not killing him and allowing him a peaceful retirement would not be true to that arc. They go on to say, we had the opportunity to give him the perfect retirement life within the movie. Marcus said, he already got that. That's the life he's been striving for. And he and Pepper going to get together? Yes. They got married. They had a kid. It was great. It's a good death. He doesn't feel like a tragedy. It feels like a heroic, finished life. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. You know why? Because first of all, let's go back. Let's go back. Oh, I love this story. I love this story. I love this story. What was Jon Favreau's initial knee-jerk reaction? You can't do this. Don't do it. Don't kill Tony Stark.
Tony Stark.
Why? Because he wanted Tony Stark. He didn't want it to be a tragedy. He didn't want to hurt people in the theaters that have grown to love Tony Stark. Has not Tony Stark, the character and the actor, Robert Downey Jr., have they both not become iconic? Because of their iconic status, why would you want to kill them off? Jon Favreau's sentiment, his attachment to Tony Stark was a lot like everyone else's. I think a lot of people would have been like if we all knew that Tony Stark was going to die in Endgame, we did know that, but let's just say we knew that. I think a lot of people were like, hold on now, hold on. Why you got to kill Tony Stark off? Can't you kill off Ant-Man or somebody else? Like, somebody else can take that hit, right? Like, anybody else? Like Iron Fist? Don't y'all want to put Iron Fist in there and make Iron Fist do that snap? Anybody else? Jon Favreau's concern was legitimate. He did not want Tony Stark's death to just be some random plot device and make people feel sad unnecessarily. I totally understand that. And he should feel that way. He was there from the beginning with him, right? But I also agree with the Russos and the writers. They say, yo, we had to kill him anyway because it was part of his arc. And let me explain what that means. If you go back to the very first Iron Man movie, Tony was selfish. Tony was arrogant. He was self-centered. It was always about Tony. Okay? And Tony's arc was always about being less selfish. When we got up from Iron Man to Avengers, what do you think the biggest line was for Tony Stark? It came from Captain America when he said, "You'll never make the sacrifice play." Remember that? He was calling Tony out and saying, you will never be that guy that will take it for the team. That was part of his arc. And as the Avengers developed, as you go from the first Avengers movie, you go to Avengers Age of Ultron. What happened? He got spooked. He got, all up in his head because he started to realize, oh my God, there are aliens out there. There are bigger threats out there. The world is bigger than me. There's more to the world than just me. This is what made Tony want to create Ultron, to protect the world, because it started not to be about him. And then if you progress to Iron Man 3, Tony started to get paranoid. He started to have PTSD because he was sitting here thinking like, oh my God, like it was too much. He was really, really getting anxious about everything because it stopped being about him. It crashed his world. And then, of course, when we get to Infinity War and and he loses Spider-Man, that hit him hard. That hit him real hard. And all of these things were meant to push his story to becoming less selfish. And then, of course, he gets the Endgame. Think about it. From Infinity War, after he lost the kid. After he lost the kid, there were 5 years that went forward. 5 years where Tony married Pepper. Tony had his daughter, had his kid. Love your 3000. He did all those things and he protected them. He moved away. He lived his life. And when the opportunity came to bring back everybody, to go back in time, do all the saving and all that, he did that. He didn't have to, but he made that play to bring everybody else back. He left his family and was like, I got to do this for everybody else. And when he got to Endgame and Doctor Strange said, this was it. And he knew what he had to do. He didn't pass that mantle. He didn't pass that gauntlet over to Iron Fist like he should have. He didn't give it to Ant-Man like he could have. He kept it for himself and made the sacrifice play. The reason why people are not heartbroken that he was no longer around was because it was part of his story arc. And we had 10 years of development in that time. That's why, as they say, it was a good death. It was a death with meaning. It was a death that to this day still impacts the MCU. Tony had a complete arc, and that death was still incorporated into it. So if you completely understand that full trajectory, that full picture I just painted for you, if you get that this man died for everybody else, that his death had purpose, then I want you to just sit back and think about what it would be like if Tony had actually been killed off after Iron Man 1. With what you know now about Stark, I want you to think if we went to a parallel universe and they killed off Tony Stark in the first movie. Okay, fine. Let's say Iron Man 2. They killed him off after a couple cameos. Do you think it would be as much of a good death? And if your answer to that is no, then I implore you to have a little bit of understanding as to why we are saying recast T'Challa. We're saying recast T'Challa because we don't believe killing T'Challa's character this early is a good death. We don't believe, again, we don't know exactly how he's going to die, but just introducing his killing now, again, by the way, because when we first watched the first Black Panther movie, we thought he died, and he was near death. We thought he died when he went over that waterfall. He did die when he got snapped away. We don't think it would be a good death if he were killed off for a third time or another time, however many times. I'm losing count. I shouldn't have to lose count. That is one of the reasons why we say recast T'Challa, because T'Challa deserves a full story arc no differently than Tony Stark. Because a premature death, no matter the reason, is not a good death. So I really hope that people at least have a little bit of understanding when fans are pretty much saying, we know that this is not, we know that this is like a terrible situation with Chadwick Boseman. We get that. We know we don't own the IP to the characters. We get that. But you're still asking us for our money to go watch these movies. If people don't pay, and no, I'm not talking about a boycott. I'm saying if fans were not there, you would not have these situations. You would not have these characters at all. Let's not forget, Marvel almost went bankrupt. There was a point in time when all these characters would have been in the basement in somebody's drawer somewhere collecting dust. It's because of fans bringing money to the table that we have these things. So any argument about like, well, you don't control the characters and all that, actually, we kind of sort of do. It's a shared relationship. Creators create and produce, and audiences consume and view it. It's a shared relationship. It's mutual. So when the fan base is sitting here saying like, hey, can we not have this premature death? Can we not bring in real life trauma into fictional trauma? It's the same reason why what happened with Tony Stark is being communicated here. At the very least, give the character a full arc. At the very listen, put him on the side, hold off if you have to, but just don't permanently end it, because it would not be a good death. It wouldn't be. And again, I don't even think you need to kill him again. I think just, it would have been nice if he could have just been, I don't know, in retirement. Like, what would have been the harm if T'Challa were allowed to go live in peace with Nakia and go have a kid, and we just don't see them? At least he alive. And then we can go travel the multiverse and do all the other stuff. I think that would have been great. Anyway, we'll have to wait and see how that goes. But we have to see how they do it in the movie. But I do want people to just understand the connection here of you saw how Jon Favreau felt, and you saw the reason why they justified Tony's death, and you also see the reaction people had. Nobody's mad that Tony Stark is dead. Everybody celebrated. Yo, we all took a knee with them. Yo, we all were feeling bad, but at the same time, we was like, damn it, he led a good life. Damn it, Tony did a great service. He gave us 10 years. I'm talking about the character. Gave us 10 years of great stories. And you know what? Ain't nobody sitting here talking about recast Tony Stark. Why? Because you don't have to. You told a good story. You don't have to recast Tony Stark because his story's complete. And it was full. It was accomplished. T'Challa ain't got that. I told you, you don't know what T'Challa will be like as a father. You don't know what he'll be like as a husband. You don't know what he'll be like as a king. You don't know what he'll be like as a diplomat. You don't know what his relationship is with Wakanda after making the decision to open up the whole country to the world. You don't know that. So ending his character now is premature. Yes, I understand they might be doing it for the right reasons that they feel, but it's still premature nevertheless. Anywho, what do y'all think about Jon Favreau's reaction? What do you think about the Russo brothers' decision to go ahead and kill Tony Stark off in the first place? What do you think about having a good death and what it means, especially in the MCU? Let me know your comments down below.
Are you Tony Stank?
Yes, this is Tony Stank.
Thank you so much for watching. This was just a segment of one of my live chats, and if you're interested in joining in on the next one, be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications for more. I've got more videos and reviews to do for you all, and until next time, I'll see you all later.